Hey guys, welcome back to West News. J77 here. Going to stick with one story today because it's a very important story. I was thinking about mixing up, but this is going to be an opinionated story. Is involving, as you kind of expected, Donald Trump and this new dilemma that has happened. And what's my feeling on the situation? I'm talking about the Syria, the bombings, Russia, pretty much the whole package. So basically, to go a little bit brief here, Syria has been accused and has been confirmed by numerous reports of them releasing a biological weapon on their own people. This sparked an outrage within the United States and pretty much a broad feeling that there should be held accountability. This also led to some finger pointing, as always, with Obama saying he was too weak on policy, this, and that. This also led to a retaliation from Trump without members of Congress actually making any type of improvements. So a whole lot of stuff has happened within the last 5 days, almost the last week, that really got everybody up in attention. And my feeling on the matter is that one, I don't think Trump did anything wrong in terms of his response, and I'll get to that situation. And two, it really does raise the question of relationships now. If it was bad now with Russia, how much worse has gotten over Trump's reaction? Because it's no secret Russia has allied themselves with the person in charge, the dictator of Syria. So there's a whole lot of stuff that is being thrown out there. A whole lot of questions. A whole lot of people have mixed feelings. You even have protesters protesting against what Trump has done due to a lot of reasons, because they feel he's going to spend a lot more money on something he have no business spending on. So there's a whole lot of things that are surprisingly not being reported as much as I think they should. Out of all the stuff that's been going on here, especially with the Trump administration, this is the one time I wish that the reporters actually would jump on this, do some extensive coverage. And at least from my stations that I've seen, at least from the news and the radio that I've been hearing, I don't think they are doing it. And I think that's a big mistake, because this could have long-term repercussions if it's not handled properly, if there is not a strategic plan in place. And I'll get to that because a lot of people, a lot of experts have been talking about this, because bombing this base, which that's what they did. They bombed a base, they bombed areas, they did an airstrike against this particular base. But bombing them will just be the first step. The question is how other steps you're going to be taking in order to basically send a message that this kind of stuff won't stand. Now, I said earlier that I think that this was a right move for a lot of reasons. You cannot let something like this, what this guy have done, just stand by. This man used this. These people, the government, have used biological weapon against innocent people, women and children included, and they did it pretty much without any regard to anything else, to any loss of life. They just did it, they hit it, and people lost their lives, and that is something that should not be tolerated by any means. Another thing, this is something in response to the protests, because I hear the protesters, they have their right to protest, they have their right to do anything else, but you need to understand something. This weapon, it goes beyond typical civil war. You're talking about a weapon which, by the way, has been internationally banned, being used on people. This is an airborne chemical toxic, capable of wiping out in cities, villages. You can't let that slide. And I think that Trump acted in the way he's supposed to act, especially since throughout the whole week he took an initiative of pointing the finger on Obama, which they did respond saying they wanted to attack, but Congress wouldn't let them attack, which is something that's very key here. Congress would not let him attack. But he made it his business to point, which has become the Republicans' MO throughout the entire 9 years that I have been following the Obama administration and the Democratic and Republicans blame everything on Obama's fault. And I got a little bit frustrated. I said, okay, you keep blaming Obama for everything, but you're not doing anything. What are you going to do? Because if you're not going to do anything, shut the hell up. I'm tired of hearing, Obama this, Obama that. Obama should have done more. What are you doing? What are you planning to deal with this problem? Well, guess what? He has shown me what he did. He went out without asking anyone else's approval, without anything Congress approval, and acted in the way he felt as President of the United States of America that was in the best interest of not only for our country's safety, but for the safety of people who are just basically being slaughtered by a government who obviously are using this tactic to install fear and control and just basically wipe out the enemies in expense of innocent people who are caught in the middle of stuff. All right, this is the situation that Trump have seen, and he's done it. And you know what? I give him respect for that. There are a lot of stuff that he have done that we can argue about. He have done wrong. There's a lot of stuff that I thought it was wrong that he was out of line on. This is not one of them. And the fact he did this without even thinking about without thinking about going for the Congress approval. Hey, he may have crossed the line. He may have angered people from both parties. But to me, at least he's shown me that, okay, the situation, the serious situation, and he has taken it seriously to the point that it now raises new questions of relations towards the Russian government, which is something that the other news have brought up, a lot of newspapers brought up, and even some people bring up, because remember, the Democrats have been thrown in that he is going to be like a puppet towards Vladimir Putin, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of that Russian regime. To me, I said this before I say it again, to me, that Russian government is a communist government disguised as a democratized government. That's how I see them. I do not buy that they are democratized, especially the way Putin has been running the government, the way it really resembles the old Iron Curtain, old Red Curtain that they established during the Cold War. I still see that with Putin. Nobody can tell me any different about that. With any case, he did show me something that said, hey, look, he may be allies with Russia, but you know what? They're not gonna, basically dictate their moves based on Russia's feelings, and this is one of them. And to me, it does send a strong message. Let me explain it. Putin is not happy at what happened. He is not happy at all. He is completely not anger to the point where he made a reaction, sending troops to that country in response to what Trump has done. So there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a whole lot of stuff happening. Russia is basically blasting the United States, and even the United States has been blasting Russia, saying, hey, we warned you about this guy. We cannot continue to support this guy and let him do what he has done. We cannot stand by and let him basically kill innocent people by using weapons that are banned from use. And this is something that I think people needed to keep that in mind. This was a biological weapon banned completely by the nation, and he not only used it without any kind of consider what has happened. And this is something that a hard line has to be taken. This is something that needs to be taken. Whether you like Trump or don't like Trump, one thing you have to really understand is that there are a lot of people, government officials, who seem to have no problem using these weapons that can have serious implication, not just overseas, but here in the United States as well. Let's go the same thing with Kim Jong-un, who has been pounding missiles around, basically taunting other countries, including our allies. This stuff gotta stop, and we have to take a strong stand on that. That's the one thing I will say. These guys, they have no problem. They don't seem to realize just what kind of weapons they have in their possession and how much serious damage they can have on their own people, let alone the United States. So again, my feeling is I have no problem with him. This is the one time I feel that he did what needed to be done as president, and he's shown me something as president. Now again, there has been some bipartisan support. as one can expect. There are people criticizing him. There are, civilians criticizing him. People protesting on the streets. And New York has feeling that he's paying too much attention to Syria and not at home. I think he needs to take close attention to what's going on in Syria. He needs to take close attention to these knuckleheads who have weapons of mass destruction and is basically swinging it around as if this is some kind of game, and it's not. So that's my own feeling about the whole thing. Now, many people ask me, do I feel this was an absolute? He had to do something because he basically criticized Obama for being too weak on this kind of foreign policy. It wouldn't surprise me if it is. In fact, I would definitely feel that he did this because he did criticize Obama for being too weak, and he wanted to show that he's not weak. He's going to make the decision, and by the way, I'm not going to wait for Congress to do it. They just can't wait. I'm going to do it, and then send him a letter saying why I did it, which he did. And on Saturday, he gave letters to the high members of Congress explaining his reason for him doing these airstrikes. He also made it his business to make sure that, to Russia at least, he said, I didn't hit anything that was in Russian influence. So he's covering all bases here. But you make no mistake about it. When the man constantly spoke these words, and I'm like, and I said it myself all week, I said, if he ain't doing anything, then he shouldn't be talking about Obama. Well, he did something. Now we can say, okay, at least he did something. Now let's see what else is going on, because there's a whole lot of stuff that has to be done. First of all, there are a lot of people running from the madness in that country, which is something that the United States seems to not understand, that it takes money, which you gotta wonder if they're gonna actually put money into it to establish a safe place where they're gonna be protected by the United States and the United Nations, because you need them as well. How are you gonna implement that? How are you gonna actually open new grounds with the countries surrounding Syria? Because keep in mind, they need the airspace if they're going to continue the war on terror, which is ISIS. So there's a whole lot of stuff here. So the one thing that I think that the administrative staff is aware of, they can't go in too rash. They have to take steps. They have to establish a playbook. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty much Iraq all over again. And I think that's what Trump is doing. I think Trump understands that, and I think his team is aware of that. At least from what we have been reading and what we have been understanding. So, he still has a lot of things to answer for. You better believe, even those who are supporting Trump, even if he got bipartisan, there are going to be a lot of people in Congress not happy he made the move to go in there without explaining, without at least getting the approval of the Senate, of the Congress. But again, when you criticize Obama like he did, and the fact is that you made it very clear that you want to take a stronger actions, one cannot be to survive. This is one of the strong actions. So again, I've criticized the president. He's doing these first 4 months. This is the one time I can actually say I think he made the right move, at least in this perspective, because again, this is a chemical weapon that we're talking about. These people are using it on their own people. Don't think for 1 minute they can use it on us. And the same thing goes with Jim Allen. There's been ships now moving into the North Korea South Korea region. They're moving in because this guy continues to pretty much taunt his neighbors, continuing taunting our allies, including us for that matter. It seemed like he's taking great joy in doing this, and this is becoming a problem. And you know what? One always says that if you're going to keep doing this, you're going to get a response. And don't think for a minute that Trump is not going to respond to it. As a matter of fact, he's already sending people over there to deal with this. That's all I got to say about this. I'm keeping it short and simple today, guys. I'm keeping it very, very short and simple. Especially during the week where I'm supposed to be celebrating my 40th birthday, so I'm keeping it very short and simple here. But I would like to hear your opinion. Again, there's a lot of stuff coming out up there. I'm not going to read every article here. I'm just making it be my own opinion. But that is an important news. I am going to criticize the media though, because the media doesn't seem to be taking grasp of this, and I'm concerned that's a big mistake. People need to be informed what's going on. And it's the media responsibility to keep us informed about what's going on, especially when it involves us possibly being into a possible fight with another country, because this does have a potential of getting us into a tug of war with not only Syria but the government as well as Russia. Right? Keep in mind, they did send drum troops in response to what we have done, and it ain't because they was happy with what we done. They are criticizing us. There are analysts from that represents Russia criticizing us. And at the same time, we don't criticize Russia as well as other countries for not stepping up and dealing with the situation. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on here, and I think that the media needs to do a better job of reporting this, which I don't feel they're doing. I think that's the thing that's very disheartening. A lot of other stuff they're reporting, but for some reason they want to keep this as minimum as possible, and you can't, not with this. What's your opinion about this? I'd like to hear your opinion on it. If you agree, disagree with what I've said, even point your own 2 cents on the matter. I'd really like to hear what you got to say. Until next time, Jason 7 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.